Yeah, this is gonna be your new room. You're right now still in Mama's and Baba's room, huh? Aa, güzel kızım. Güzel kızım. Oh, dur. Oh, maşallah. Of. Of. Ya. Hadi mamas. Sahra. Di. Sahra. Di. Di. Hey everybody, hello IEDEREEN, it's me Keyshaszone from Keyshaszone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm finally sitting down and breaking down my labor and delivery story. I did post a video on my channel, it's a vlog style, but now I will be talking through the days leading up to my delivery and the day of. I will say for starters that I had another amazing birthing experience in our hospital. It was unmedicated and just great vibes all around, so I definitely cannot complain. My baby girl is my third child and her due date was December 17th. Now my mother-in-law was going to fly in from Europe to help my husband with our other two kids and also help me, of course, but she wasn't set to fly in until the 13th of December, so I wanted baby girl to just stay inside of me. I know that a lot of mamas at the end of the pregnancy, they're over it, they just want baby out. I needed her in. So when my mother-in-law was finally it felt like finally, so when my mother-in-law was finally in our home, I went ahead and started eating 5 to 6 dates a day. It really does help and loosen the cervix and makes it softer. I did this with my second labor as well, and I did not tear for the last two. I did tear for my first birth. It was a first degree tear, but still. So I highly recommend that. If you could start eating dates as soon as like 36 or 37 weeks, definitely go ahead and do so. Personally, I do not like the taste, but I know it has amazing powers, so I just go ahead and eat them. So in December as well, you do a routinely checkup. If it's your last month or month and a half before giving birth, your checkups will be weekly. So every week that I would go to my OBGYN office, there would be no real movement. Barely half a centimeter dilated, if that, but my cervix was soft, which is good, of course. The day before my due date on the 16th was my final appointment. My OBGYN went ahead and checked me and I did not have any other, movements, just that half a centimeter dilation. She at that point asked me if I wanted to go ahead and have my membrane swept. I did not want that. I said I wanted to progress naturally as long as possible. So we then decided to book another appointment for the week after my due date. And at that point we would talk about it again. If I wanted to go ahead and have a membrane sweep or maybe do another week. Baby girl was fine. She was not too big or too small, nothing was going on. With my second son, he did have a chance of having meconium, so that was a whole different process. This time we didn't have any issues, so we decided to not do it. The day after, on the 17th, I felt some contractions, but when I say contractions, these are super light, more so just a tight feeling and discomfort than pain. And they would be super irregular. And with that, I mean one contraction in the morning, one in the afternoon, and maybe two in the evening. So that would continue to happen up until the 20th. And around 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, I could feel contractions that were picking up in pace, not in pain level. At this point, it's still just uncomfortable and just mild cramping, but it's every 15 to 30 minutes, I would say. And I am like, okay, she might be coming today, the latest tomorrow, but I'm thinking it is going to be today. I do notice that whenever I'm laying down, the contractions are super spread out. And when I'm up, it's every 10 minutes or so. Laying down maybe in 30 minutes, maybe just one every hour. So at that point, I decided in the afternoon to go for a walk through the neighborhood And I think it was like a 45-minute walk, and definitely I could feel the contractions at that point. Not painful yet, level 3 out of 10 maybe, but they were picking up, right? So nothing much happened anymore, because I remember also feeling a little bit tired, and I did have to make a decision. Am I going to lay down and rest my body for this upcoming event, the labor, but then the contractions are really not picking up? Or do I stay busy, walk around, and prepare my body that way for the upcoming event, labor? So I decided to do the latter, but then around 7 o'clock, still nothing was progressing. So I decided to go ahead and lay down. I lay down on the couch for maybe 5 minutes, and I hear what is like a rubber band. You pull it back and let it go. That snapping sound is exactly what I heard and what I felt. But I didn't feel pain. I don't know how to describe it in a way that makes sense, because I'm feeling the snap of a rubber band, but there's no pain attached to it. It's very strange. And once I got up, I didn't notice anything on the couch, so there wasn't any water on the couch, but I did see a little bit trickling down my leg, so I knew that my water broke. I told my mother-in-law. I was super calm, and she told me, okay, stay calm. I go get Benjamin, da da da. And seeing her jittery, it made me super emotional. Like, oh, it's happening. It's really happening. I'm having my third baby, my first girl. This is crazy. So we went to the hospital. Because of COVID, the procedures have changed, which I know because I gave birth the year before as well in the same hospital. So I know the procedures. Anyways, that's besides the point. But there's one area for everybody to check in, and that's the emergency room. Even if you're, labor and delivery, it's not via the main entrance anymore. It's the emergency room entrance. And so there was a little wait. At that point, I did say yes to the wheelchair that was offered, because the cramping was getting a little bit. Now we're going into the pain level, right? So it's like a 4 at that point. I could still talk because they needed all my information. They sent us to triage of labor and delivery. She asked me again, like, what is your pain level? And I said, it's a hell of a 6, but it's a 6. She checked me, and I was 6.5 dilated at that point. So she went ahead and checked me in. All good there. As soon as I got into my room, because they already looked through my birthing plan, which I will definitely do a separate video on, but they already had set up the lights. I wanted a dim lighting. They came in with the mirror, because I did want to see this birth. I want to see me push my baby out and her being born. I wanted to experience it. I didn't want my husband filming. I didn't want him to put the camera there. It's also not allowed, I think. Pictures are allowed, but not filming during the process. And so they had everything set up. I also wanted to be able to play my music. So immediately my husband had the iPad ready. He knew what to do as well. Put on the list. If you guys know a way for me to be able to share my Spotify list with you, please let me know, because I only made an account for that purpose. So I'm not too familiar with Spotify, but I would love to share it. I had some very nice calming music, but also some upbeat, powerful music. It was just a mixture. And yes, I do know the songs, some of the songs that were playing while I was going through my contractions. At this time, it's between, I want to say 9 and 10 p.m. and the contractions are picking up. I realized that me laying down, the contractions are coming like almost back to back, and it's much more harder for me to manage my pain, but that's my comfort zone. Every time I'm in pain, tummy ache, headache, foot pain, tooth pain, I go lay down in a fetus position. That's just what I do. That's what I did for my previous 2 births as well. This time I got up out of the bed and I was just rocking, swaying side to side, leaning over a chair, and that helped me so much. So I definitely suggest you do that. The pain was way less. I don't ask me the specifics, because I'm not an OBGYN, a midwife, a labor and delivery nurse, or a doula. I have no idea what the science is behind that, but it helps. So when I was going through one of the contractions, I look at my husband and I tell him I need to poop. So that means I'm feeling like I need to poop, so you need to call the nurse. He knows exactly what time it is. If you have that feeling, usually it's go time. So they call in the nurses. My husband calls in the nurses. I said, you need to check me right now because I feel like I need to push. As soon as she laid me down and checked me and she said 9.5, I'm telling her I'm pushing. And she's like, okay, I'm going to call your OBGYN. My OBGYN was apparently in the nursery. So they were talking to each other via the walkie-talkies. And I just hear my OBGYN saying, I'm going to be right there. I'm in the nursery doing a checkup. I'm telling the nurse, I'm saying, that's great. I'm pushing now. So I just started to push, and I see my OBGYN coming to the room. It was like, that scene was like in a movie because one of the nurses had the gown open and my OBGYN just came in like this, like running into the gown. They immediately tied it behind her back. She sits down and the last thing I hear is her yelling, open your legs, Keysha, open your legs. So I don't know how I was like pushing. I have no idea. But I think I had to like push 2 times and baby girl was out. So we did not, unfortunately, have time to grab the mirror. Purely because 1, I was not thinking about that in the moment. 2, the nurses who had set up the mirror already in the room, at that point they were so busy with me and making sure that they were in front of me trying to get the baby if she would have come before the OBGYN was in the room. You get what I'm saying? So it happened so fast all of a sudden that was one of my requests that unfortunately didn't happen. Also, because it happened so fast, I have no idea what music was playing when she was born, and I feel so sad about that, but it is what it is. But she came out, she was crying. That's one thing I remember. She was crying the whole time, like the boys were crying, and then as soon as we would hold them, they were calm, especially after my husband does the prayer, the Muslim prayer. They would be calm. They would immediately be calm. She did not. It's like she just kept crying. And yeah, our little baby girl Sahra was on earth around 10 p.m. and yeah, she was a chunky little one. She came out bigger and taller than both of the boys. She also had a little bit of jaundice, what seemed like, because her eyes were a little bit yellow, her skin was a little bit yellow. So bilirubin is what it's called, I believe. That's what she had. So they had to check her levels of her blood levels multiple times. Not multiple times a day, but just in the stay. We were there for 3 days, so they had to check it, I believe it was every day. And also keep a close eye on her diapers, making sure she had wet diapers, making sure she had poo-poo diapers, and it had to be a specific color, all that good stuff. And they did allow us to leave after 3 days. Her levels had to be a certain point. They were a little bit low, so they rechecked it right before we were to be able to go home, and she was all good, so that was great. We did have to have 2 extra follow-up appointments with the pediatrician because of the jaundice, but she did fine. Even though it was December, with us living in Florida, we had multiple beautiful days, so I could go outside and nurse her and just make sure she was stripped down so that the sun could really, be on her body. Obviously, it's not blistering heat. It was just nice sunlight. It was warm enough for us to be outside and her have like her body exposed, but not too hot that she would be overheating, if you understand what I'm saying. So that cleared up by vitamin D, natural vitamin D, so that was amazing. And yeah, the big brothers are doing great with her. She has a 5-year-old brother, 19-month-old brother now, and they're both just smitten with her. So she's in the perfect company here and just the perfect little addition to our family, baby girl Sahra. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I will go ahead and link my previous 2 labor and delivery stories for you. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Bye.